गतं न गम्यते तावद् अगतं नैव गम्यते gatāgata-vinirmuktaṁ gamyamānaṁ न gamyate.
Gataṁ na gamyate tāvad, agataṁ naiva gamyate. Gatāgata-vinirmuktaṁ, gamyamānaṁ na gamyate. MMK chapter 2 verse 1. The already visited is right now not visited. The not yet visited is most certainly not visited. The now being visited, liberated from the already visited and the not yet visited, is not visited. So this is a brilliant verse, and once the chapter title has been translated, as yesterday, this verse is not difficult to translate at all. It translates itself. The only slight difficulty is how to translate tāvad at the end of the first pada. Gataṁ na gamyate tāvad. So I seem to remember Anne MacDonald translates to begin with, which is one meaning of tāvad. Tāvad can mean first, to begin with, for a start. So the already visited for a start is not visited. The not yet visited is most certainly not visited. So that works. But there are other verses later in the chapter where for a start doesn't work so well. So tāvad also means now, just. It's given in the Sanskrit English dictionary as at once, now, just, first. So in this verse and in the other verses where it appears in chapter 2, I've translated tāvad as right now. So the already visited right now is not visited. That's obvious. That's a cliche, isn't it? The past has gone. Here and now, the past is yesterday's calendar. Then the second pada, agataṁ naiva gamyate. The not yet visited, agataṁ, in other words, the future. Naiva, so na not, eva emphatic. Naiva, most certainly not. Gamyate, visited. So gamyate is third person singular passive of gam, to go, to visit. As the rain comes down on the plastic roof, I'm going to struggle not to, I'm going to struggle to hear myself speak. But I'll press on regardless. So gataṁ, the already visited, the past. Na, not, gamyate, is visited. Tāvad, right now. Agataṁ, the not yet visited, that's the future. Naiva, naeva, not at all. Gamyate, is visited. Gataṁ na gamyate tāvad, agataṁ naiva gamyate. The already visited is, right now, not visited. Or the already visited right now is not visited. That's better. The not yet visited, most certainly, is not visited. Then the second line, gamyamānaṁ, the now being visited. Gamyamānaṁ is described, gamyamānaṁ is a nominative neuter singular, and it is described here as gatāgata-vinirmuktaṁ. So vinirmuktaṁ, nominative singular neuter, agreeing with gamyamānaṁ. So Muktaṁ means liberated, released. It's the past participle of much, which means to let go, to release. So muktaṁ means let go. Vinirmuktaṁ, so nirmuktaṁ means let go away. Nirmuktaṁ. V either means nothing or it's emphatic. So completely let go away. In other words, liberated. So gatāgata is gata plus agata. So gata, gone, visited. Agata, not yet gone, not yet visited. So gamyamānaṁ, the now being visited, is described as liberated from the already visited and the not yet visited. So this sounds like he's talking about the moment of the present. So it's liable to excite the interest of people who are very enthused by the idea of being mindful of the moment of the present. So he says, gatāgata-vinirmuktaṁ, gamyamānaṁ. The now being visited, liberated from the already visited and the not yet visited. And here comes the punchline. Na gamyate is not visited. That's not visited either. So he's saying the past, you can't be mindful of the past. The future, you can't be mindful of the future. So you're expecting him to say, but the moment of the present, you can be mindful of that. But he says the opposite. He says, no, the punchline is, you can't be mindful of the moment of the present either. Because if the moment of the present is made into a thing with prapancha, then one can't be truly mindful of it, because you've turned it into a stone instead of a happening. And insofar as it's a happening, an empty dharma, it doesn't. You're better off orienting yourself into the future. It's a bit like Wayne Gretzky, the great ice hockey player in America, or I think he was Canadian, saying, "I skate to where the puck is going, not where it's aimed. I skate to where the puck is going." It's exactly that, and so that's why the Buddha said, "Asasi sami, pasasi sami." When he's talking about mindfulness in connection with breathing, he doesn't say, I am mindful of the breathing that's happening now. He says, being mindful of the body, I will breathe in, I will breathe out. He's not urgently trying to be aware of the present moment. What's the big hurry, In the future, I will breathe in, I will breathe out. It helps to avoid that unsightly bluish tint in the lips. It's a good plan to breathe in and breathe out. But he's not saying there's an urgent hurry to be mindful of it while it's going on right now. So, once again, gataṁ na gamyate tāvad, agataṁ naiva gamyate. The already visited right now is not visited. The not yet visited most certainly is not visited. Gatāgata-vinirmuktaṁ, gamyamānaṁ na gamyate. The now being visited, liberated from the already visited and the not yet visited, is not visited. So I woke up this morning thinking this verse is about not taking sides. So I'd like to talk about my own experience of taking sides and not taking sides. In connection with chapter 1, verse 5 or 6, there's the word kim pratyayena, which means what use is a cause. And the meaning is what use is a non-empty cause. If you have a conception of a cause as a non-empty thing. What the hell use is that? Because a non-empty cause can't change anything. So kim pratyayena, it's kim with the instrumental ending. So pratyaya goes to pratyayena, and he says kim pratyayena. What is the use of a cause? And when I was commenting on it, I wanted to give another example. Like you could say, kim vitargena. What's the use of an idea? Just in the spur of the moment, I couldn't think of an example. But the one that occurred to me this morning was kim pakshena. Paksha means side. Kim pakshena means what use is a side? And that really is a good question. Kim pakshena. Kim pakshena. What's the use of a side? Or if we use a feminine example, drishti is a view. So instrumental singular of drishti is drishtya. Kim drishtya. What use is a view? You know, we got the Brexit debate is going on in Britain at the moment. So you've got people taking sides and upholding their own particular view. And so it's really obvious. Kim pakshena. How is us taking sides sod all use to anybody? Kim drishtyena. What use is your poxy view, your opinion? You know, you think you're so self-righteous there on the left, you're thinking you stand for compassion and hating the guy on the other side, you know. What use is that? Kim pakshena. What use is a side? So this was stimulated particularly by my old friend Kevin Grant, who I used to drink beer with on a regular basis. He gave his own view on the Brexit debate on Facebook yesterday, and good old Kevin, of course, is just, you know, he's not taking anybody's side. He's the voice of reason, you know, and so that stimulated my thoughts. And when I was a teenager, Kevin was an extremely good friend to me, in the sense of not taking sides against me. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, in case it might make things clear to somebody else about taking sides. So in the first instance, my mother got pregnant when she was 19. She fancied my dad, who was a Welsh rugby player, good-looking Welsh rugby player. So the attraction basically was physical, and he got her pregnant first time out, as I understand it. So they got married because my mum was pregnant, and but they were very young, emotionally quite immature. My dad was always out boozing. He was a big Welsh rugby playing boozer. He joined the police force to get a steady income. He left university without getting a degree. My mum carried on and got her degree. But while I was growing up, I mean, they were continuing a passionate relationship as two 20-year-olds would, including, along with all the love, a lot of hate. So they'd have these big rows, and I was always being asked to take sides. In their emotional maturity, they would use me as a weapon against each other. So whose side was I on? And this caused a kind of division within me, because it was obvious rationally that my mum was generally in the right. My dad was extremely selfish. He was out drinking. Sometimes he'd take us to the pub and leave us in the car park for like 3 hours, where he'd come out half soaked with a small bottle of pineapple juice for my mum, and a packet of crisps for me and my sister, having left us in the car for 2 or 3 hours. So it made sense on one level that my mum was in the right and my dad was in the wrong. And he was kind of complicit in that worldview as well. So I was encouraged to take sides with my mother against my father. But instinctively, you know, I wanted to be like my father. I wanted to be a strong man, not a woman. So that was a conflict within me. Then another thing that happened was that I would go back to South Wales with my father, and my Welsh grandfather was really keen that I played rugby for Wales. So when my father would take me to watch rugby, and England were playing Wales, despite the fact that I'm English through and through, born in Birmingham, and you know, brought up speaking with an English accent, brought up in England, when I went to watch Wales play rugby, I was expected to support Wales, and I did support Wales. I get my Wales rosette, and then when the Welsh national anthem came on, everybody was singing in Welsh. I'd stand there like a goldfish, opening and closing my mouth. I didn't know the words. You know, conscious of the fact that I wasn't really Welsh. I was a plastic taffy. But it was an early uncomfortable feeling about identity politics. Whose side are you really on? Are you, in your heart, are you English or are you Welsh? So I struggled with the whole thing of taking sides. And then when I was only 10, I started going to the local posh school in Birmingham, King Edward School, Birmingham. Jonathan Coe, who wrote the Rotters Club a couple of years below me, and he wrote about his experience going to that school in the Rotters Club, and more recently in Middle England, which also got me stimulating my thoughts about taking sides. So if you went to King Edward's, you were generally regarded by people on the bus and so on as being a snob. King Edward's boys were snobs. And so again, when I was 14 or 15 at a school disco, some of the locals, some of the local oiks who didn't like King Edward's snobs, one guy, he came up and said something to me, and I turned an ear to him, and he just turned around and did a massive right hook to my eye. You know, that was the end. There was no fight. I just went down. But I later earned the instant karma that he broke his hand in the process. So that was nice to hear. But it was an example of you know, you were on the other side. You were one of those KES snobs, as opposed to the normal, ordinary people. And so in that situation, it was good to have my friend Kevin, that I used to go and we used to make homebrew beer together and drink it on a regular basis. So Kevin was my friend from primary school. He lived across the road, and he went to Moseley Grammar School, which was more for ordinary lads. But he didn't regard me as a King Edward snob, or he might have taken the mickey about that. But you know, he was still a good friend, and he was also a rugby player. We both played rugby, so on a Saturday we'd both go out, play rugby for our schools, and then get together on a Saturday night and play darts and drink homebrew beer. So again, the rugby angle. I woke up this morning after Kev's post on Brexit, and I just wondered when I woke up, why at the end of a rugby match the referee used to blow the whistle and say no side. And that is a profound, I don't know where the phrase comes from, but it has profound meaning in the context of the Brexit debate, and in the context of a rugby match. And it also, when you're talking about mindfulness of breathing, it occurred to me that there's that kind of process. So, because what happens when you see, there's wisdom in playing rugby. You learn a lot from playing rugby, but the bad point of it is you take sides against, it's us versus them. So you learn about teamwork and depending on each other, but in the context of us versus them, is taking sides with the other. So you learn something good and, in a sense, something bad, because for it to work, you have to have an opponent. But then at the end of the match, the referee blows the whistle and says no side. And so, you know, in rugby, you might have been punching each other, but the whistle goes and you shake hands, you know, and go and have a beer together. So that contrasts a little bit with football, where the sectarianism, back in the 70s anyway, tended to be quite bitter. You know, you'd stand on this heritage and you'd say, like, Kevin and I were both Birmingham City fans. We went to watch the FA Cup semi-final replay at Main Road when Birmingham City played Fulham. And the last minute of extra time, Fulham scored a very, very scrappy goal. And I can't remember, but I should imagine that the chant that we would have sung at that moment of crushing disappointment would be, "You're going to get your fucking heads kicked in." And when we sang it, we really meant it. You know, we hated at that point. We could see the Fulham fans. They're going to Wembley. They're all, you know, jumping up and down, hugging each other, and we hated them at that point, because that was the crowd psychology that you learned in football. And as I got older, I was aware that I didn't really want to. I sensed there was something not true about it. Going back to my experiences with being English or Welsh, or taking sides with my mother against my father, and so I was drawn after I was 18. When I was 18, I went to South America and heard about Zen and read Carlos Castaneda and became more spiritually minded. I didn't want to go back and play a team sport, so I took up karate, and that's what took me to Japan. But that involved separating from my girlfriend that I'd partnered up with at university, and then she started going out with my best friend at King Edward's, who was also a Birmingham City fan, and all being fair in love and war, my very good, the people who are all on my side at King Edward's, my group of friends, who we called ourselves the normals, again, sort of taking sides against the intellectual snobs that were there. We were the kind of guys who went to football matches at the weekend, rather than you know, did more kind of intellectual, snobbish pursuits, sort of thing. So my friends at King Edward's, the gang of friends at King Edward's, regarded me as the bad guy. That they took sides with because I'd gone to Japan and was doing my sort of selfish karate Zen thing. They seemed to take sides against me. So the sense was of having lost my girlfriend and also lost my best friend, who she started going out with. So again, who's really on my side, you know? But one person who always was Kevin Grant. So this is the background to me reflecting on this business of taking sides, not taking sides. Really, you can, in a sense, a friend is someone who's on your side, but more than that, he's someone who doesn't take sides against you. So if we're talking about the King Edward's Boys are Snobs things, Kevin Grant certainly wasn't on the side of being a King Edward snob, but the point was he didn't take sides against me. And this is the thing I say about the Brexit debate. It's, rather than take anybody's side, the solution to the civil war is just being clear that taking sides in the end is not wise. In the end, it's not wise. But what you learn from rugby, or even to a lesser extent from supporting a football team, it can be wise up to a certain point. It's like you take sides, and then the referee blows the whistle, and then it's no side. So it's like an Alexander friend who observed Kev Grant and I bantering with each other on Facebook like we were on opposite sides, you know, intervened with a comment and said she was taking my side. She didn't realise that Kev was a good friend, and that's why he was taking the piss out of me. So that there's also that aspect. You see, it's okay to take sides temporarily as long as you know it's a convenient fiction, and in the end you're not taking sides against each other. So in the Sutra of Mindfulness of Breathing, the parallel is that the Buddha says, Sabakaya pati samvedi asasi sami tisikati. Sabakaya pati samvedi pasasi sami tisikati. One trains oneself thinking, being aware of the whole body, being aware of this whole body, I will breathe in. Being aware of this whole body, I will breathe out. So that's like taking sides. It's like, okay, forget about the world. In this hour of sitting practice, I'm going to be aware of this side, this whole body. Not being aware of, the problems of the world. Not thinking about all living beings who I vowed to save. Just bringing my attention back to this whole body. I will breathe in and I will breathe out. But then the sutta continues. Pasambayam kaya sankara nasasi samiti sikkati. Pasambayam kaya sankaran pasasi samiti sikkati. One trains oneself, ti, sikkati. Iti means thinking or quotation marks. So sikkati, one trains oneself, iti. Pasambayam, causing or allowing to cease. Kaya sankara, the samskara of a body. So asasi sami, I will breathe in. Pasasi sami, I will breathe out. So I will breathe in and will breathe out, causing or allowing the samskara of a body to cease. And that means not taking sides. That's like the referee blows the whistle and it's no side. So first, you make an effort to be aware of the whole body, but then that passes into dropping off body and mind. So you stop being aware of this side, yourself against, subject against object. Okay? So that is a kind of convoluted way of commenting on what's being pointed to in this verse. Because when people who are trying to be mindful of the moment of the present, it's them who's being mindful. And on the other side, the moment of the present, they're making a separation. And what this verse is, in its punchline, is saying is there ain't no separation in the first place. The now being visited is not visited. So it's the same principle as I will breathe in, I will breathe out, being in the future tense. You can't make your breathing the object and you're the subject in the moment of the present. That's not what it's about. So it's like I will breathe in and will breathe out. And when that happens, the thing I can't be aware of it right now, but I have the intention that the breathing in and breathing out will continue. And in that happening, it will be the allowing of cessation of my body as a separate thing. That's what the practice of mindfulness is about. It's about, in Zen terms, body and mind dropping off. So how do you practice the body and mind dropping off? Well, in the first instance, you're aware of it. You want the whole body to be informed with thought. That's step one. That's what you learn in the Alexander technique. That's what I learned on Marjorie Barlow's teaching table. The condition which she would say to me, that's it, the whole body informed with thought. And she'd only say that after a good few minutes of work. When we'd been going through the Alexander directions, she'd be using her hands to put meaning into those words. So when I said to myself, let the neck be free, to let the head go forward and up, to let the back lengthen and widen, sending the knees forwards and away, or for lying on my back with the knees bent, sending the knees up to the ceiling. So a lesson with Marjorie Barlow was an exercise in putting meaning into those words. And the words were all together. The directions were given all together, one after the other. So when the directions were working all together, at a certain point, Marjorie would say, that's it, the whole body informed with thought. That's what the Buddha's talking about. The whole body informed with thought. I will breathe in and I will breathe out. But that isn't the end of the story, because we want to go beyond awareness of this side, this whole body being informed with thought. What the Buddha's pointing to, and what Marjorie in her own way would also be pointing to when she said, I want you to move the leg, is to go from self-consciousness of oneself as a unity, a psychophysical unity, and towards losing consciousness, losing self-consciousness in action. So we go back again to chapter 1, which is all about pratyaya, causes, but as he says in verse 4 and 5, causes, what everything goes back to, is action. So action, it's like when you're playing rugby. You're not making an effort to be mindful of the present. You're making an effort to catch the ball. If it's up there and it's coming to you, you're not thinking, I want to be mindful of the present. You're just thinking, I want to catch the ball and hopefully not get baffed by that massive second row who's bearing down on me. So that is the now being visited, not being visited. You know, that's from the point of view of the commentator. You say, oh, Cross is about to catch the ball. You know, he's mindful of the moment of the present. But it's not that. It's not the moment of the present and being mindful of it. It's just making an effort not to drop the ball. And then that's what this is. That's what Nagarjuna is describing. Action, when you're actually acting, is not separate. Is not something you can separate off and be mindful of. It's not, because in that way you're taking sides against it. That's what intellectuals do. The philosophers who translated MMK up to now, they're not men of action. They're men of letters, and so they discuss philosophically what is the soteriological import of Nagarjuna's teaching. What is the ontological meaning of emptiness? See, you know, it's a difference between being in the classroom and listening to that kind of stuff and being on the rugby pitch, or being on the rugby pitch and the referee blows the final whistle and says no side and you go for a beer. It's that kind of, it's that more pointed to that phase of life. That's what it means. Gatāgata-vinirmuktaṁ, gamyamānaṁ, gamyate. The now being visited, liberated from the already visited and the not yet visited, is not visited.
गतं न गम्यते तावद् अगतं नैव गम्यते गातागता-vinirmuktaṁ gamyamānaṁ न गम्यते।